Good evening. We bring the Council Transportation Committee meeting to order this Tuesday, December the 12th. Roll call. The only one absent tonight is Councilman Hillensbeck. Mr. Valentine, would you lead us in prayer?
Bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord God. Once again, Father, we ask you to bless our men in uniform and ladies in uniform across the sea, Lord God. Here at home also, Father, we also pray a special prayer for our hero and who has given his life to God and country in Iraq, and who is, we pray for his family, Father. Comfort them, Lord, in their time of need. We ask that you guide each one of us tonight with wisdom, Father, as we decide and make decisions for the parish and its people. We ask these in your Son's holy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have a public comment period. Anyone wishing to speak can speak at the item that they wish to speak at. Item number 4, DPW update, DPW Director Bill Rue. Mr. Rue.
Okay, we have a good many updates to go through. To begin with, on the 2005 overlay project, that's the one that's ongoing right now. We've had a problem in up to this point with road with floor light in it, and what we would like to do, and this is later on my update, but we have a change order, and what we like to do is concentrate on some of our local roads, the roads that's actually less than standard, basically dead end, going to a few houses, but no through traffic. What we like to do is concentrate on rideability, which is keeping that surface nice and smooth and keeping the friction on it so you can stop. But other than that, not worry about the base or sub-base. And what we had planned in the 2005 project is actually to reconstruct a lot of these roads. When we got into it, we found that in some places the floor light was more than anticipated. If we would go in there and do what the only thing you can do when you take up the asphalt is to remove the floor light, it would be cost prohibitive. What we would like to do, because these are local roads, is to change the plan for the 2005 project, and in essence change our plan for upcoming projects, and concentrate on just, again, making the surface rideability adequate for the people living down the road, and that by doing, well, when I say make it rideability, the only thing we're going to do is overlay the top. We may do some leveling, a leveling course, and then the surface course on top of it, or we may have to do some leveling milling, but we're not going to touch the base, and especially the floor light road, keep it intact, and repair the shoulders. And by sealing it like this, we'll get a number of good years out of the road. In fact, if we have to come back 5, 6, 7 years from now, we basically come back, if the road is too high, mill it again and do a surface rehabilitation on it and leave the base alone. If we do that in this project itself, we're going to have a change order, and this is just estimated right now. The official change order will be coming to you at the council meeting, but we estimate to save roughly $47,000 from the estimated cost of the project. Reduce the bid amount by $46,585. It is a recommendation of URS, DPW, BKI, and the contractor that we are allowed to do this. We also are asking permission to see if this committee can get authorization from the majority members of the council to authorize us to proceed immediately in doing some of this work. The contractor would like to get started this week. If we have to wait for full council approval, it's going to be another week and a half, and we lose a lot of time. So we're not exactly sure how you can do it, but we are asking your help in giving us permission to move forward with this project.
Councilman Jackson.
I'll make a motion that we accept this change order in this process and recommend that the executive committee meet and make a decision on whether they can move ahead with it as soon as possible.
I second that.
Any questions?
I'll just make a comment. I see Chairman Savoy is in the back here present, and he can possibly contact Mr. McConnell, and the executive committee could meet as early as, it'll have to be a 24-hour notice, but we could give notice and even meet Thursday night before the finance meeting, or even tomorrow at this time, Mr. Savoy. So we'll discuss that after, but I'm in total agreement.
Mr. Root, do we have a list of the roads that would be affected?
Yes, ma'am, we do. We have AC Road, actually be an increase. Now, on AC Road, we're not going to make a change. That is going to be a removal of the floor light base because it is getting to be more of just a local road because of the church and trailer park in the back. Now, actually, there is an increase of $98,000 over the bid price, contract price, because we actually go in there and allow the contractor to take the dirt up. Everything else, with the exception of a couple of other minor roads, is going to be a reduction. Lake Park, Lake Ridge, everything in Lake Ridge Circle, all of those roads in that little subdivision will just have an overlay, and there'll be a reduction.
Just get just maybe send it by email to all of us, the list of roads.
I have copies right here. We'll give to you.
That would be fine.
Right. And again, this is an estimate, but the total amount, the accurate change order, will be coming to the full council in the form of a change order for your approval at the next meeting.
Okay, we have a motion and a second that this be sent to the executive committee for a ruling from that committee. Are there any objections? If there be no objections, then you may call a meeting for the executive committee to decide that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm sure there's no concern with Lake Park. They'll just take their time on it.
Mr. Rudy, you may continue.
Okay.
Bill.
Yes.
05. Isn't Church Point in that project?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And that's sectional repair of the Church Point.
Okay, I didn't see it on this list.
Right.
As well. This is just what you're asking for now.
Yes, and they kind of waiting on Church Point.
It's getting worse. It looks like on certain areas.
Right. That is the worst road to work on because of the fact it's a through road. It's actually a connector road for the parish. A lot of activities on that road. So they're kind of holding it back. It's toward the end of their project to do that road.
All right.
Okay. Because, and I think I mentioned at the council meeting Thursday night that we were going to try to get you an update of all the roads and when actually they were expected to be done. Well, we couldn't get it because of the fact a lot of the roads changed because of the recommendation you just had as far as a change order and actually overlaying other than, resurfacing or taking the going to the base. Now that we have that permission, R.J. Daigle will revise their schedule based on this new policy and be emailing us this schedule within the next few days. And as soon as I get it, I'll give that to all council members. And it'll be a little bit more accurate description of and schedule for when exact roads are expected to be done. So, again, we couldn't get it because of this policy change. Sidewalk project, LA 44A1. GSA has incorporated comments from DOTD, and a plan in hand inspection will be scheduled shortly. We have received a little bit more money. We had another grant, I think, $310,000, and I think our grant department came to y'all at one of the council meetings. I reported on that. But we did receive a little bit more money from another grant, and so we can incorporate LA1, If you remember back, we just had LA 44. We had to pull back LA 1 because we just had enough money for 44. Now with this additional money, we're hoping to get some of LA 1 and Donaldsonville done too, the sidewalks.
Councilman
Well,
Shipstein.
at the time, you talked about doing that in-house as repairs on that. Did we?
Well, now we're looking at trying to sub it out. We just don't have the manpower to get to it in a timely manner.
Okay.
So if we are able to, and if we have enough money, we'd rather, if at least lower the scope and contract it out, then try to do it in-house and do more, because it just takes us too long. We don't have the manpower.
Just so we get it done.
The intersection projects. Right now, we talked about it before. I think the Councilwoman Fontenot had alluded to it before, but we would like to get suggestions from the council members on intersections, improvements to intersections, both state highways and parish roads. We are compiling another list over and above the list that we've already engineered, and trying to get as many turn lanes into a project as we can, and submit that on the state highway, submit it to DOTD, and try to get some funding for it. But I'm just bring this to you tonight for you and the other council members to, if you have concern, you have some ideas about some intersection improvements in your district, give that to us so we can evaluate it and put a program together and keep these projects going.
Councilman Valentine.
Thank you, Ms. Fontenot. One of the things, Bill, that we might want to kind of get a joint effort is with these new primary schools that are being built, possibility some kind of combination of some turn lanes and what have you close to some of these proximity to some of these schools. I know the one that's going to be built on Bluff Road will probably entail some turn lanes and what have you that maybe needs to be added even to some of the highways going in there into that position. And I know they have another one somewhere on
Worthy Road.
Worthy Road.
And yes, sir. And we are talking to Mr. Lynch, Chad Lynch, with the school board, and we have been meeting on the last number of sites that they chose to put a school, and they're asking us for our recommendations on what should they do and how that would impact our traffic and drainage.
Right. And
we're giving suggestions to him and to the school board on what needs to be done, and they're willing to participate. Another site is actually over there on 431 also, and got an intersection right at 431 and 931.
Right.
So we're looking at that.
It'd be good to involve the congressional state senator and the representative legislative body from the parish also, since most of them sit on transportation.
Right.
In try and enable maybe some funds that could help infrastructure around schools.
Councilman
Still,
Shipstein.
also on the school on Worthy Road, if they could get another entrance also, because everything would be emptying right there on Worthy Road.
Yeah, I tell you what, we're talking about right now, only talking, and that's only for emergency exit, is coming out into Park Vista subdivision. Where they were going in, when we were digging a ditch, and they bring construction equipment in. That's only
they can't come out to prepare it. There's no way to get there.
No, it's landlocked unless they buy property or something like this, and it's pretty expensive property in that along that road, Prepare Road. The only access, and again, this is I wouldn't recommend it. They're not recommending it coming into the subdivision, and but they are planning on using that as an emergency exit. The last road, the back road of Park Vista. But I don't think they have access any other way to another road.
Councilman Lambert.
Yeah, Bill, did you talk to Mert Smiley and get the list that he has on these intersections? He had told me he had a list of, I forgot how many it was, but it was quite a few state.
Right, and it's basically the same intersections we're basically looking at, which is along 431 and along 42. Okay. The 42 intersections are part of our Highway 42 widening project, and as you remember, what we're going to try to do is if this thing ever gets to construction, we finally going through the stage zero, got through the stage 0, and we're trying to get to stage 1. But our idea is to improve the intersections along 42, and then come in as money permits and do the connection between the intersections. But a lot of the ones he was talking about is on 430, on 431, 42,
Okay.
and also on 42, which is later in my report. But we actually is Highway 431 and Gold Place Road is on DOTD list. We were able to get that on their priority list several years ago. It's finally coming up to stage 0 evaluation, which is the first phase that they need completed. And it's my recommendation that, and this is, I'll say it a little bit later in the presentation, but I need a resolution from the council for us to pay for the stage 0 evaluation. And if we do that, it's not that much money on an intersection like that. I would say less than maybe $80,000. But if we do it, we can push this project up a lot faster instead of waiting for DOTD to do it.
You need that motion now. You want to wait?
We can take it now.
I think anybody's interested in that in the audience.
The main thing is to bring it to the full council.
It's definitely an issue right there. I think we need to go ahead and move.
It is our recommendation. I can move it up the priority list if we get stage 0.
Make that motion. We go ahead and move.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second to move forward with this project. Any objections?
Just a question.
Question, Mr. Valentine.
What is the project now, Bill, for?
That's Highway 431 and Gold Place Road.
That's what's on the agenda here.
That's
I wanted to make sure it was on the agenda.
Yeah,
otherwise, he'd had to try to get 2/3.
No, and it's on the agenda. That's why I put it on the agenda.
Yeah, okay.
Because I wanted a resolution to move forward that project.
Okay.
Mr. Rue, while we're talking about intersections, the project on 73, are they going to do anything with the intersection at the St. John Church? We've done some improvement coming on. Will we have any improvement going from 73 to Duplessis? Is that in that project?
Yes, ma'am. When they get into that's a 3-lane Highway 73.
Right. I was just wondering if there were improvements.
Basically, what you're looking at is a permanent turn lane, center lane turn all the way down, and that's both to enter into your subdivisions, but also at some of your major intersections. There may be a light there. I'm not sure. It depends on what what warrants are present when we get to that point.
It's just that there's a lot of traffic from the plants in the afternoon that are looking to turn right there. So the center lane wouldn't benefit them. They would need something to come off to the right to be able to turn on to Duplessis because they get out to Airline Highway quicker that way.
Again, it'll be a center lane turn, but there are going to be other improvements for us, right turns and the such, you know. But I'm not exactly sure what the design is right now.
We need to vote on it. We never did
we
vote.
need to vote on this one. Are there any objections to that one?
I motion and Kent second.
Then we want to add to the, is that going to our council?
Yeah.
You guys go to the
full
council. And
on the
what
stage 0?
What it's actually for is for the parish to
For
participate in funding the stage 0 feasibility study.
And that's $80,000.
Well, I'm just saying we don't really have the cost. I have to get some cost estimates from some engineers. But it's for the Highway 431 at Gold Place Road.
So do we move forward with the project without the amount of money that we're going to spend?
Hold on.
No, this is just for
Ken, what you think the stage 0 for intersection?
They need that so we can move forward.
60,000. That's why I would put not to exceed 80,000, maybe.
Not to exceed 80,000.
Don't put an amount.
Yeah.
Because they're going to make it 80,000.
Yeah, you might. It's not that much for an intersection. Not nearly like
Let's
it
say
is for a
not to
highway.
exceed 60,000, and then that's what they'll charge us.
So what's the motion that y'all want to make?
Do you want to make
Well, again,
a
what
limit?
I
Yeah,
would
he says he
suggest,
needs to
I would
go out for
suggest this is to we put no money on it, and based on a recommendation and approval of URS and DPW, that it is a fair price.
Okay.
I mean, let it up to us. We have everybody with the ability to say this is a good price.
That's what the motion is.
That's the motion. Thanks. Any objections? There be none. That will go to the full council. We were still on the list of intersections.
Right.
We dropped down to that one. The other one I wanted to ask you about was, do we have any new information on the 621 and 73 and I-10 intersection?
I think I'm going to let Ken answer that.
I talked to people from Krebs LaSalle this afternoon, and they told me that they would have plans to the department this Friday for final review. So at this point in time, it looks like the project should make a late spring, early summer letting. Should be this fiscal year. So they're on schedule.
So they are on schedule with that one.
Yes.
Is there any possibility that we can ask them to address the potholes? When you come off of 621 to cross 73 to go to the interstate, it is really getting deplorable. And I mean, I know that we got a project going there, but it is getting so bad, it really is dangerous.
We'll put in a request to the maintenance crew, and they should be able to get it pretty
and also
quickly.
maybe that they can clean up some of those rocks and
Sweep it.
clean that intersection a little bit.
We'll put a request into the Brittany office.
The other one that I wanted to say about in my district that I'm concerned about, y'all just did one on 621 at Airline. Mm-hmm. And it's good, it's helped a lot, but we still have traffic stacked up in the afternoons to Andy's Grocery, which is over the railroad track. It seems like if we could just come back a little bit further with that turn lane, that would relieve that some.
We'll evaluate.
Would you do
it.
that and evaluate it and see it? I mean, even if it's 25, 30 feet more to help get some, because most of the people are trying to turn there, but they're on the other side of the railroad track.
And one of the reasons we're getting a little bit more stack at that area in the afternoons is the condition of the intersection. Of course, they're trying to repair Highway 61, and it's real rough, and they had part of it was resurfaced, part of it wasn't, and the cars were having to take a long time to get across, and that's been causing a stack, unusual stack, back in the afternoons.
Right.
Just trying to get across. So once they get completely finished with that intersection, I'm not sure they finished or not, but once they do, that should relieve some of that problem.
But it is a really good intersection now that you have the turn lane, and if you could extend it, after you cross over the railroad track. Obviously, you don't want to extend it over the railroad track,
can't.
but I mean, if you could go just a little bit further, that it would help that situation, since that's an area that it stacks.
And we'll review it.
I would appreciate that. Anybody else have any intersections that you want to look at this time? I haven't heard from any of the other councilmen, so that's still out there. If there's anybody that needs an intersection looked at, please get with Mr. Rue.
And again, ma'am, we're going to put our own list out. But this is just for your information that if you're concerned about something, giving it to it might be something that we're not looking at.
Right, exactly.
To continue, GSA has completed 90% of the design efforts on the current turn lane projects, and that project includes Ascension 929, US 61, Black Bayou Road at Black Bayou Extension, and at 44, and also LA 621 and US 61. That's coming. Going west, and those are the ones that they're designing now. Again, they're about 90% complete with the design on that. And again, they're waiting on some things with DOTD on permitting on some and acceptance of their design and other issues. Phase 3, which will include the intersection of Duplessis Road and US 61 and Causey Merritt Evans Road at LA 44, is in preliminary design stage. We're also adding to that design evaluation the Germany Road at US 61. Duplessis Road is directly across from Germany Road, so we're going to do an intersection improvement. We might add Germany Road to it and try to do turn lane on both at the same time. So because we're starting to have a little bit of a problem at Germany Road and US 61 with all the traffic coming down Germany Road. So we're adding that to it.
Bill, can y'all take a look at Highway 30 and 431 at 61 there? It's starting to be
we have
worse
a
and worse.
Yeah, 30 and 61 come in both directions. Most of the time they're trying to turn, and there's no way of getting around. We're going to look at, and we already talked about that, looking at the signalization at that location, and also we're looking at the four-way. Because the same reason, in the
The
morning and
four-way was much better
afternoon,
when it was a
you got a lot of
four-way.
people who want to turn, and they're holding everybody up. So we're looking at that site too. On the widening projects, Joseph Area Road, the final plans have been submitted for review. Right as far as the utility relocation is almost complete. They have to remove some of the poles and remove some of the lines for, I believe, cable vision. Minor things, but as soon as the final plans are submitted for review, we're going to bring it back to the committee and with a recommendation that we go for bids. We have an intersection of Joseph. Yes, ma'am.
We still have something on 4C. Mr. Barraga wants to talk on 4C.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Chair Lady, if I know members of the committee. I hear y'all talking about the intersection improvements. I'd like y'all to take a look at 931 and 44. It's pretty hectic there now. And at the opposite corner of Rouse Supermarket, there's going to be additional commercial development there. And I ask that y'all please consider that. Thank you.
We'll add it to the list.
Yeah, that's to your list.
And,
Before you go on, Councilman Shakespeare, I think, wants to.
The other
Yes,
thing,
Mr.
Bill, they had an article, and I think about a month ago in the paper out of Lafayette, and the state is looking into a great deal more, is doing roundabouts, and they're looking for some experimental projects around the areas, and so my positive experience with them, I would just like to see us try to get on board as one of the first ones to have that as an efficient way of moving traffic. You know, we have 431, we have 44, we have a lot of these intersections that the traffic is ground to a halt, and I think we can, if we can get on board with that, and in the article they stated that that's the most efficient way to move traffic, and it's popular in Europe, but it hadn't caught on yet in the United States, and they're looking to just do it. So
we have looked at that, Councilman. Actually, we looked at it at 2 locations already, and that is at the intersection of 621 and I-10, and also at some locations on 42. And there's a common consensus that these roundabouts work well in a very dense, urbanized area where the design speed is very low. Whenever you get to a highway where the design speed is I would guess, higher than 25, 30 miles an hour, then it becomes a safety issue, you know, slowing down and going around these roundabouts. And so it was DOTD and us and our other consultant, URS actually, was involved with it. We determined that in our situation here, with the exception of maybe in the town of Gonzales, that roundabouts it would be unsafe at this point in time because the design speed of the highway is greater than what it should be.
keep looking into it.
That's right.
Before we go any further, Mr. Shakespeare, you did have an item you wanted to move up.
Yes, if possible. I have to leave, but no, item number 7, speed bumps in Pelican Point. Bill, there was some information that they had some, I think, portable speed bumps or speed bumps that were constructed of certain material that you could move in. I think they had.
Well, it's actually called speed humps, and they're designed to reduce the speed to a certain amount. If you're going at a certain amount, you really don't feel the difference in elevation that much. But if you're going higher than that designed speed, that it can cause a problem. And we're getting a lot of people calling in because of subdivisions and speed limits within subdivisions. And it's my recommendation now that we go back. We got submission of 2 subdivisions already, and I feel that we should look at choosing a number of subdivisions with the permission of the committee, subdivision committee, and have homeowner association, and go ahead and the parish pays for some speed humps, design it and pay for some speed humps in a number of areas as a test case. If it proves good, if it's proves to slow the people down, it's not that big of a liability issue, we'll bring it back to the council, and I recommend that if it works, that we make a condition of the subdivision development developers, when building a subdivision under certain conditions, to automatically install it at certain places, and then let them pay for it. And that'll keep the traffic down.
It has been very much recommended on Pelican Point Parkway by the homeowners association, right. And they've been asking and making that recommendation. And I would like to see us move forward in any way we can to try to help them out on that situation, because there's a lot of out of the subdivision people that are coming there to play golf at the golf course and everything, and so they don't have the same concerns as the people in the subdivision, and therefore the speed limit is being abused there mostly by the people that
we have another sites, just local roads. It's dead-end streets that they're having the same problem on. And again, we could use it as a test case and can move it to a subdivision requirement at a future date if it proves to be a good deal.
And I don't know if you need a vote or a recommendation, but I'd like to see us to move forward, in particular this one.
Mr. Lambert.
Yeah, Bill. I've run in this many times way back in '96 with legal opinions on speed bumps, humps, or whatever, and the liabilities pretty much told us that we would be at fault if somebody came in that subdivision. It's a parish road. We paid for the bumps. They would hit it, veer off the road, hit a mailbox, hit a brick mailbox, hit something, get hurt, we would be at liable.
And I'll have to investigate it, but I've seen there is a definite design criteria for speed humps. I mean, this is done in other parts of the country.
Because I know, we've turned down so many people, it's unreal for us speed bumps because of the legal action on it. And we need to look at that before we go any further.
And again, this is, I want everybody to understand, it can be, if you go with our suggestion, it'd be a limited case basis for the evaluation.
But it's going to be open.
But also, it's a speed hump and not a bump. And I think everybody here is used to the speed bumps, where it's just a 10-inch by 6-inch high elevation in the road.
What is the difference?
A speed hump is actually designed where you go up. You design it for a speed limit.
For a certain speed.
And it's actually, you're going to go up on the elevation, and then you level off for a certain distance, and then you come back down. It's similar to going over a bridge like on Roddy Road, where we had to repair those bridges. And if you're going too fast, you have to go up, you level off, and you come back down. And if you're going at a design speed, you can go across it fairly easy, and it doesn't hurt anything.
We definitely need to run this by legal before we move, because any kind of deviation in the road that's not smooth that could cause someone to lose control.
And this is only recommended for in cases where the design speed is no more than maybe 30 miles an hour.
And this is not just our legal that we have now. This is some previous legals who actually is a judge now, brought that to us.
But I know back then they looked at speed bumps, and that's why they had speed bumps in Gonzales, and they had to remove them. But that's a totally different thing.
My recommendation is do some research, find something that's acceptable in areas, and let's use it as a test case and see how it works, if it's acceptable and it does meet the questions that Councilman Lambert has brought up, because we certainly don't want anything that's going to be a legal problem.
Exactly. We don't want anything that's going to be legal, but we do have a very big concern now with the many subdivisions and the problems that they're having, that they don't even know how to address speeding anymore. So if there's something that we can do to solve it, it would be nice.
Well, this is done all over the country,
right.
So there is a way to do it safely.
Absolutely. And I would assume that if the homeowners association and subdivisions themselves sign off on it, that would maybe take some of the legal things away. Okay, Mr. Rue, we're back on schedule onto what your
back on Joseph Area Road. We were talking about as soon as the plans are reviewed and okayed by DPW, and we're going to bring it back to the committee for final approval, but we're going to request at that time to go to bids on Joseph Area Road. Joseph Area intersection with 933 is going to take a little bit longer. So what we're recommending is going ahead and have two separate projects, do Joseph Area Road, And when the intersection 933 Joseph area, which is all 4 quadrants going to be improved directions, is to come back with a separate project and do that.
Need a
So
motion on that, Bill?
No, we don't need a motion.
Okay.
I'm just bringing you up to date on how we're going to work it and where we at on it. Boudreaux Road number 2, final plans have been reviewed. Comments will be sent to GSA in the next week, and project will be ready for bidding sometime the first of the year. Boudreaux number 2. West Worthy revised plans reducing the right-of-way taking have been submitted. Working on negotiating the fee for right-of-way map preparation is ongoing. Roddy Road widening. Need to get together with DOTD to DPW to review the scope of project and determine what will the impacts of the project be on landowners. Again, this is DPW, URS, and GSA. And the same thing has to do with Cannon Road widening, and that's from the bridge to Roddy Road. We need to meet with GSA, URS, and us on the impact and our ideas on the design, final design, preliminary design. 2006 overlay project, 2006 reconstruction. We're taking, and this is one that we're doing in-house, and what we're recommending is to use the same criteria that we're using on the 2005 for the overlay of roads. And what we're doing now is separating that list out into the ones that that we're only going to do a surface rehabilitation on, just do a rideability overlay project, and then we're going to separate that out from the ones that actually need to be reconstructed, which is going to the base. And we're going to try to go to actually 2 separate projects, so we can move pretty quickly on the overlay, the pure overlay project. We can do that fairly simple and fairly quickly. And then the other project take a little bit longer. At least we're working on something and we're getting the project moving. The same thing for the 2007. We got the list going. We have a number of roads in it. We're going to have in excess of 50 or 60 roads that we have evaluated, and we're going to reduce that down to an acceptable number, probably to hit the $2.5 million budget. And we're going to use the same type of criteria we're using in the other 2 projects, and that is having a pure overlay project and a reconstruction project. Overlay project, we try to get that kicked off as soon as possible moving forward while we wait for engineering on the reconstruction project. And also we have the crack seal program. I'm going to send you tomorrow.
Mr. Rue, before you go
Yeah.
any further, Mr. Valentine has a question.
Bill, on the 207 overlay project and the 207 reconstruction project, is that the one that we trying to do in-house?
No, sir. The 2006 is the one we're doing right now. The 2007 is what we're taking. We're taking proposals from, or taking suggestions from the council members, and also we're doing our own evaluation of the roads.
Okay, 206 is what we're trying to do now.
The 206 is what we're trying to do now, and again, we're going to separate it out and move forward with the overlay quickly, very quickly.
Okay.
And in fact, we may even be overlapping with the 206, the end of the 206 with some of the 207 overlay.
Okay.
Going out for bids.
Okay, so we pretty much done all the engineering on that we need already?
With the the reconstruction part of the 2006 has a little bit more work to do because of the floor light issue. Okay. The overlay project is just about complete because there's really no engineering involved with it. And that's why we separate now, so we go ahead and get that part of it moving.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of delay in the fact that we are separating.
Okay, now the 207 project was one we gathering together. We said we were going to do that in-house too?
We're doing, well, the overlay part of it we're doing in-house because there's no engineering involved.
Okay.
It's just a quantity issue and going out for bids.
Okay, wouldn't it be prudent for us to try and go ahead and get something for reconstruction?
On the reconstruction part of it, once we get the list of roads separated out, exactly which one we're going to reconstruct, and the cost of the reconstruction, we're going to bring that back to you for final acceptance of that list. And at that point in time, we're going to recommend that it goes out to outside engineering to get that part of that project moving forward. And again, we're in the future, we're going to do the overlays in-house because it's real simple and it's just quantities. The
Well-
reconstruction parts, we're going to sub out.
I know you made that statement the other day about you want to rename these projects, and I think that would be prudent because
Well, actually,
the public perceives that, you know, we're still dragging back on 204 and 205, and we are on some of them. You know, so I don't want to delay the 207 project, and that's why I said that even if we have to at least pin an engineering company before we even get the total roads completed, at least they could be working on what we do have. And maybe that's not justifiable.
I would
don't
rather,
know.
Councilman, I would rather wait just a little bit longer.
Okay.
So we can bring you a list of roads, and
All right.
let's get that over with first.
Not a problem.
But on the other issue, we are going to have project numbers that's different from what we have now, and that project number will probably start with the 2006. It's known as 2006 now, but when it comes to you with the when we project it out or bid it out, it's going to have an actual project number different than what it is now.
Okay.
It can be a
All right.
coded project number.
All right, thank you.
And not in the same format. as the
Mr. Rue, can you give us an approximate timeline that we might receive a road list?
On the 2006?
To 2007.
2007. Next council meeting. I mean, next transportation meeting. Yes, sir.
So we'll put that on the agenda to
But-
get the road list.
Because like I said, right now we have a pretty comprehensive list, and we're in the process of prioritizing it down, rating it, so we have more of a acceptable list to bring to you. But we have that at next transportation meeting.
I'd like to get a copy of the full list,
Sure.
even though you whittle it down.
And what we're trying to do is, because we don't have all the information from the last projects, but we're trying to do as per y'all request, and that is make one large comprehensive list, prioritize it for the next 2 years maybe, and then work off of that list, that master list, in setting up the next 2 or 3 road projects.
That sounds good. You may continue.
Okay. Now again, the last thing really is a crack seal program. We have the road list. I did not make copies, but I will send you a copy of the list of roads that we're going to actually get quotes for on putting a crack seal repair to the roads. Now, the reason we're getting quotes first, we got to get some estimates or try to get some idea of what the amount of the cost will be. If it's over $100,000, then we have to go to bids with it. If it's under $100,000, we may not have to. We also look at the possibility of this being a professional service and not a contract. So if it's professional service, we don't have to bid it out. So we're reviewing that, and we're trying to get the information to say that it is professional services, which will give us the right not to bid, which will give us the ability to move forward a lot faster with some of these projects.
Councilman Lambert.
Bill, right offhand on that list, Preston Landry Road is on that list. I'd asked to put it on there several.
Let's see.
I think I talked with Johnny Richardson, and he said he thought it was on there. It's a fairly new road that's got some
Okay, what's the name of the road you're looking for?
Preston Landry.
I don't see it on the road on the list we have right now, but we'll add it.
Add it, please.
And again, this list will be sent to you, and you see some other roads that you would like to add to it, go ahead and give that information
And
back.
this is for crack and seal.
Crack seal. Right. And really, that's all of my report, ma'am.
Okay.
Number 2, the change orders, we took care of that.
That's what that involved, Mr.
Yes, that's a
change
change
orders, what
order.
we did
Right.
before. Okay.
Okay, item number 5, J.D. Broussard Road, Highway 621 intersection. That was the road that some of the residents, especially in Mr. Valentine's district, are complaining about the stop sign and the particular area. I don't know if maybe we should be looking into the people at the corner put a big wooden fence up, And so when you come down J.D. Broussard to 621, you can't see anything that's coming to begin with, and it kind of makes the intersection kind of like just blend in and go away. I don't know if there's something that we could do in subdivision or in regulations that would make somebody be able to put their fence further back from the road, so that if, at least when you get to the intersection, you could see what's coming.
Well, legally, you have to have a certain sight distance at an intersection to make it legal. I think it's 250 feet or something like this. I have to check and see exactly what it is.
You need to look at that situation.
There is a regulation that when they get to the intersection, that they have to have a sight distance on both sides going each way. And if something's obscuring that, well, then we can do something about it. One of the problems we had right at that intersection is we added on to the covers because of the turning radius. We had a lot of problems, a lot of complaints on it. But when we added on to the covers, it pushed the stop sign over to a point where it was actually hidden by a tree.
It's hidden by a telephone post.
Or telephone post. But we can't come any further inside with it because of the fact of the covers.
You could come a little bit further, though, Bill.
Well, what we did, and the only thing we can do, is we added a sign further up stating that stop ahead. And we can put two signs, we can highlight that, we can do whatever, to do it. We cannot move the stop sign any further up because it's a representation of where they should stop, and a lot of we tried that. We put a stop sign further up on the road, and people were starting to stop at that stop sign and were confused. So we changed it to a stop ahead sign, and again we can highlight that more to bring more notice to it, and we can stripe the highway with some reflective tape at the intersection to give more notice of an intersection coming up. And at the same time, we'll look at the sight distance when you get to that intersection to see if it's clear.
It is a very deceiving. I guess I travel that particular road a lot because I go pick up Miss Pie. That's the way I go, and sometimes I come back that way. And I know the area, and sometimes it's bad even when you know it. And I really experienced the same type of thing when I come off of Bayou Grand. Bayou Grand's got that little, it's like a little divided entrance way when you're coming out of there. But when you get there, the subdivision Bayou Grand South, it looks like it just continues on, so you don't really realize that 621 is crossing over. That's another area that is pretty bad.
But we did investigate it somewhat, and we found that some of the reasoning, for the accidents was the fact that the stop sign was offset, and some of the people that wasn't used to the area didn't see the stop sign or had some problem with it. But we have corrected that somewhat in putting the other sign there, but we are doing more. And as soon as we get some reflective striping, we're going to put it across the road to highlight the intersection even more.
That's appreciated. Mr. Valentine, you have
Yeah, I just want to say, Bill, you're talking about the reflectors. You're talking about like what's coming in, like when you enter Gonzales, say on Coon Trap Road, those that kind of indicate that you're fixing to get to that's for a dangerous curve.
Well, really,
the state laid that
what we're
down.
looking at is putting something at maybe 2 or 3 stripes all the way across the road right before the intersection. So when you approach an intersection, your lights, especially at night, your lights will hit the reflect, and you see something across the road, which will give you indication there's something there.
Well, my big concern is the amount of traffic that's going to increase there, because they have a large subdivision going in already. There's another planned subdivision going in, so a lot of people are going to take that road, J.D. Broussard Road, to get to 621 to get to the interstate. And that might be one of the intersections that we look to put a turn lane that would also give you some visibility, a little bit more visibility, make the intersection a lot broader. So you might want to add that to your list. But I did send our legislative delegation, Mr. Lambert and Mr. Quizair, some information that they needed to see if the state could have some help on that, because a death did occur at that intersection recently, and it is a deceiving intersection. So maybe the turn lanes, even if it turns right, is going to widen it where the visibility becomes a lot better. But I'm just thinking of the traffic that's going to be realized on that road in the near future.
And we're even looking at also the possibility of some type of warning, flashing light at that location.
That might be a good idea.
Just to warn everybody that it is a possible
dangerous
problem intersection.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Right, because the problem I had, the reflectors would be good for the nighttime, but this was a daytime accident.
But if we can, and we'll talk to DOTD about it, we can get a red light blinking at on J.D. Broussard and the opposite road. I think it's Bishop Wood, whatever. And with a caution blinking on 621 to indicate an intersection, and that's still a possibility there. But we'll talk to DOTD about that.
Item number 6, Mr. Thompson had put on here, and he's not here. And I think you pretty well covered that.
Right, that was in my presentation.
Right.
So
we're going to pass on that. We've taken care of item number 7. The reason I put turn lane / traffic light intersection of Highway 73, I got an email from a Jeff Rushing, and he was concerned. He said that he had seen where we had made a resolution to the state for a turn lane at the intersection of Highway 73, Old Jefferson, and Highway 427 and Perkins Road. And he's concerned that they may need more than that they may even need a red light there. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention and just have you look into it.
And that was if at the last council meeting we had a resolution to go to the state to look at that intersection with a possible turn lane, and that would be a situation that the DOTD will evaluate as for a light, and it's totally up to them. If it warrants one, they'll put it. If not,
I just wanted to bring that to your attention since he requested it. We've already dealt with number 9.
Yeah. Well, another comment on that since we're there, Ms. Fontenot, before we adjourn. Bill, the 206 reconstruction, I'll go back to that because I guess that's probably the one I was thinking about. Have we pretty much completed all the engineering on that, or we still have a good amount of engineering?
We not completed with that because because we separated off. We started concentrating on the easy ones, which was the overlays, and we're not quite as far along on the ones that needed reconstruction as we are on ones that just overlay.
Okay, and I think that's one I had discussed with you earlier, and I guess I wasn't realizing we were talking about that once you started talking about the simple overlays. And I know Dennis Babin retired, and that that was kind of involved in that, and I'm not sure how much URS, they got a lot on their plate too. I mean, wouldn't it be prudent if we would look at maybe possibly giving that to an engineering firm to try to get that completed?
Well, it's your call on it. I think that we're at the stage right now that it actually would put us further back because of the fact we have a good bit of it done. And if we go to an engineering firm, we then have to go through contract, we have to go through negotiate, we got to go through a lot of issues, and we're probably looking at 3 to 4 months of them working on it.
Okay.
So I think it's best just to leave it like it is.
I'm getting real nervous about that getting completed.
If and we're talking about 2006, not 2007, the 2006. Right. I think you leave it like it is now, and we can proceed with the overlay project. You'll see activity going.
Okay.
And while we're working on the rest of it.
Okay. That's it, Joe.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Just want to remind everybody to have a safe and happy holiday. See you next year.